Chairman of the Appiatse Reconstruction Committee, Benito Usubio, is urging contractors to expedite action on the reconstruction of the committee ahead of the outset of the rainy season. Addressing the press after visiting the site to inspect the progress of work, the Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources responsible for lands and forestry said that he's confident that the contractors will be on schedule to complete the project. The Appiatse community was flattened with 13 people killed and dozens injured on January 20 when a truck loaded with mining explosive detonated in the community last year.
We, as the committee, the reconstruction committee, we've been here, and what we've seen, I would say we are very, very satisfied with the outcome of the work and even the progress of the work to say that right now we can rest at ease that our timelines, we can now say that they can be met. And also the consultant who is here permanently with them, and things are going on very, very fine. We've gone around, we've inspected all the works, we've seen the road works that are coming up, the drains, and that too we say is a good job done. Also, the drainage system that they are doing down there in the stream, that too is ongoing. What we can say is that we still urge the contractors to hurry up with the work a bit because of the rains that are coming. Soon we'll be in the thick of the rainy season, and we have to roof most of the buildings or the structures before the rains come, so that at least that will not stall the progress of work. Whilst it's raining, even they can still be inside internally working. As for the first phase, I know we have enough funds to be able to complete the first phase. Let us get to about 80% of the work. Then we'll look at how much we've received and what is left. And then we'll look at whether it can cover a substantial percentage of the second phase. But we'll still urge Ghanaians, contributors, philanthropists, that they should still come to our aid. And we've not completed the work. Appiatse is not finished. And as such, we are calling on them to still contribute.
Joining us now via Zoom is one of the affected residents, Joseph Appiah. Now, he lost a 21-year-old son, a house, and a pub. Joseph, thanks for connecting. We understand that despite the fact that you have been relocated, you are not exactly happy with your current condition. What are your concerns?
Much for your time, and I would like to take this opportunity to thank every single Ghanaian who supported Appiatse during the explosion. Currently, we are facing a whole lot of challenges, as I said earlier on. When you go to the site right now, we don't have drinkable water. The place where they are staying now, they don't have roofing in their rooms, no electricity, and poverty is killing the people of Appiatse. I heard Benito Usubio saying that they are far above the time, but if I should tell you what we are going through, you will be surprised. You will be surprised. Right now, even death certificate, 13 people died at the spot. Ask Benito, what is their death certificate? New sites. We have new sites. Some buildings were partially affected. Ask Benito, what has he done so far? He met us on the 21st of April last year with two groups of people. According to him, he said one of the groups, their duty was to do structural integrity tests, and then the other part to do evaluation. He said they will call us. Ask him, since from that time up to date, has he called us? All the rates are just spoiling our buildings. There is no compensation. So I don't know what he is talking about.
All right, Joseph, so under the circumstances, what are you and your colleagues going to do to ensure that your concerns are addressed? Because clearly,
yes.
you're not
Good
happy.
question. I thank you so much. You know what? We are trying to meet the MCE on this issue. The outcome, if it is in favorable of us, it will end there. But if not, we will embark on a serious demonstration. And even we have planned to. Even somebody has volunteered to provide us with some buses to convey us to Jubilee House. We will come and stay with our Akufo over there. Because what we are going through is a headache.
All right, give us a timeline just before you go. When are you looking at embarking on this demonstration that you are currently contemplating?
Our voice are not being heard by our traditional authorities and then the municipal assembly. Go there and see. Right now, as I speak to you, there is no drinkable water. Go there and see the way the problems that they are going through.
All right, Joseph, that point is well noted. So I'm asking that under the current, prevailing circumstances, when are you looking at implementing your idea of wanting to embark on a demonstration?
Currently, some of our people have traveled to Central Region for about 5 FINRA. And then a lot of them have also traveled to Nzima for the Easter Convention.
Right.
So currently, we will not be able to meet some people. So hopefully, within 2 weeks, we'll be able to reach the municipal chief executive. And if things are well, we'll communicate back to you. If things are not well with us, you will hear our voice.
All right, Joseph, thank you. Thank you very much for connecting with us. As and when there is any latest update, I'm sure that we'll get in touch with you. We are continuing.
I will surely provide you with any information that you need.
Right, thank you. We are proceeding with the rest of the conversation. Now, joining us is the Executive Director of Mining Advocacy NGO WACAM, Daniel Owusu-Cranton. He's connecting with us via Zoom. Daniel, we're grateful that you are able to speak to us. Well, earlier you had put out, findings about the work, being done, the reconstruction being done. As of now, what can you comment on? What can you report?
Yeah, thank you very much. Our report did not just touch on the Appiatse reconstruction. We looked at other aspects of the problem. Health issues, livelihood issues, and other social and economic things that we talked about. And then the most important, Honorable Minister for Minerals and Mining, Lands and Natural Resources, indicted the company. That the key issue that caused the problem was the fact that according to their investigation, there was failure to ensure the transportation of the explosives. That the transportation was to be managed by a certified explosive manager, which the company did not do. This runs contrary to Regulation 6.2a of the Minerals and Mining Explosives Regulation 2012, LI 2177, and other infractions. To date, we have been calling for the report, and to date, the government has not responded to our call. And this I think is not right. No, this is a serious issue and serious issue of concern for all Ghanaians. And to date, we don't even have a report. Even though, as I have mentioned, the Honorable Minister indicted the company on a number of grounds. But we think that the state, the people of Ghana must know what happened. And then also we are looking at just providing them reconstructing the destroyed buildings. That is also good. But we are forgetting the fact that some people still have some metals in their bodies, health issues. They don't even know what to do. And the livelihood question, what are they going to survive on? If we give them the buildings and then they block their livelihoods, what are they going to survive on? There are very important issues, and we should look at these issues comprehensively. And even for the reconstruction of the buildings, even that the spokesperson for the community has already indicated the problems we have. So the Appiatse issue, we WACAM think that it is not being handled the way with the seriousness that it deserves. And that is why companies continue to do things which do not conform to the rules and regulations of this country. So these are the issues that we are talking about. And we will soon also come out, because these are vulnerable people. And if we concentrate so much on the building and divert attention to it without looking at the other issues that I've mentioned in terms of health issues, their livelihood, as the spokesperson said, water. And many people are crammed in one room. And I don't think that the way we have treated Appiatse is right. It looks as if we love foreign companies more than our own people. All right. It's not right.
That's okay, Mr. Cranton. Just before you go, you earlier indicated that very soon you would also come out. Are you able to clarify that? What do you mean by you coming out in the not too distant future? What does that mean? I mean, specifically.
We have made a call to government that we need the report. We should hold Mazam Ghana Limited responsible for what that had happened. We think that the communities also have a right to even seek the company, to hold the company responsible for payment of compensation.
Right.
So these are things that we need to look at. And if we get to that point, Wakam will be prepared to give them free legal aid.
Right.
And that's what we've been doing.
Right. Thank you. Thank you very much for connecting with us. So that was the Executive Director of the Mining Advocacy NGO, Wakam, Daniel Owusu Cranton. Away from that development, now the Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Akufu-Dampare, has hinted that transport operators with low accident rates will be rewarded at the end of the year to encourage drivers to prioritize safety, especially during the festive seasons. Dr. Akufu-Dampare gave the hint when he visited the STC station to urge drivers and travelers to observe road safety during the Easter festivities.
Today is a Good Friday, and with many families hitting the road, it's important for drivers to remember to kill their speed to save lives. Today, the IGP is here to urge drivers to observe road safety.
As the Easter holiday season begins, many people are traveling to other parts of the country to celebrate with family and friends. In an effort to promote road safety and encourage responsible driving habits during the season, the Ghana Police Service has indicated that transport operators with low accident rates will be rewarded at the end of every year. This is aimed at encouraging drivers to prioritize safety. The Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Akufu-Dampare, has been speaking after visiting some bus terminals.
Akwa yede tudwa ene se buses akese na moko long journey ni nyina meniminuanom ya twentwen ho.
We will start rewarding intercity buses with low accident rates at the end of every year.
Munya nkwanhia ni abom abaso.
He also advised passengers not to force drivers to speed.
Passengers for na omuba na bia omaye omakachi ebi ompiempia matiko se mun confidie members so no eni omudin komoyi and police TV so any media bebre so
we advise passengers not to force drivers to overspeed, because we only have one life. It is important to return home safely.
Meanwhile, Secretary of the New Plant Drivers Union, Kofinti, is raising concerns about the deplorable state of Ghana's roads. He hopes government fixes them.
For the roads are so small for the population that we have now. And that's caused too many accidents, too many problems. We have been talking about it for the longest, but still, nothing has been done. And I think if they're thinking about safety, then they should think about the roads. Because if the roads are not good, then there won't be any safety.
Prince Owusu and Sen's report read to you.
A former Deputy Attorney General, Betty Modidrisu, has described as shameful the decision of some minority NDC MPs to approve the current crop of ministers by President Akufo-Addo. According to her, the decision of the NDC lawmakers was rather unfortunate. She spoke to my colleague, Richard Kwejenyako.
Some of the media now, you frighten me. Some of the media. I get scared when I get interviews and then see some screaming headlines out there. That's one issue. And the second issue, really, there are some fantastic personalities that we have in the party and in the country who are young ladies. And I'm mentoring them, myself and several others. We're mentoring them. And, you know, we do programs and things with them, showing them how to get out there. Occasionally, I'll do the rare interview so they'll see how it's done, how to manage, and so on. But I'm not a media person. I'm a poor lawyer. Really been a blessing to my life. And I thank God that I at least had a father and a mother, of course, very strong Ashanti woman, but a father who believed in pushing the women, his daughters, to the forefront. My sisters, my siblings from his side.
Now you relish that the NDC should come back in 2024.
I think it's a certainty. I don't think anybody has any other thoughts than that.
Really?
Oh no, but the MPP know that they can never make it back. They themselves know it. Go and ask anybody on the street.
But they also feel that the NDC, who are the alternative, they are also not really unified. They are divided. If you look at what happened in Parliament.
What happened in Parliament was disgraceful. I don't want to say more than that. It was disgraceful.
But that is in the NDC.
Whether it was NDC or MPP, it was disgraceful and should never happen again.
I want to understand why is it disgraceful?
No, I don't want to go into it right now because as a party, I don't think we have explored it enough. But I think that I think it was a disgrace and it was an affront to those in the constituencies because I do grassroots work. When you see me, you think I'm elitist, but I'm there. I'm going to the village next week. I'm going to be in Kwabre and all over Ashanti region. And they can't believe what has happened. Well, we only have 4 MPs, and we know none of them would do that.
So you feel that the MPP's desire to break the 8 is a mirage?
I don't know what to call it. But I don't think they really believe that. They're just saying it's a slogan. Like, what was it? One village, one dam, or something like that. You see, one factory, one this. I think it's just one of their slogans. They themselves know that. If you want to test the pulse of the Ghanaian public, go and sit in a taxi cab. Take any Uber and talk to the guy, which how's it going? Say, hey, madam. I think Ghanaians reeled from the shock. They can't believe what they are in, you know. But we've endured a lot. And I think anybody can see that we have been bitterly let down by this government. Not Ukraine or whatever it is.
That's not justification that, I mean, coronavirus rocked us and then Russia and Ukraine.
Nobody believes that story except them. So they should go ahead in their false beliefs or misguided beliefs. It's sad, you know, that as a people, we have to go through this.
What were your expectations when President Akufo-Addo took over the reins of governance, and then you were expecting? I mean, now you sound disappointed. I don't know whether to say that you are disappointed, but you expected more, or did you believe him?
He's a personal friend. I don't want to spoil a friendship that has transcended and gone through almost 70 years. So don't let me look at the personalities. Let me just say that the governance of the country has been abominable.
Let's now turn our attention to the NDC's parliamentary primaries in the Ayawaso West Wogon constituency, where an aggrieved aspirant, Moses Beifi Echampon, says that he's disappointed by the party's decision to vet only John Dumelo amongst the rest of the contenders. According to him, the decision of the party constitutes an injustice which he's willing to fight against. He spoke earlier to my colleague Blessed Suga on the pulse.
inappropriate. And it is surprising that the party, after we successfully filing our nomination forms, after making the required payments, after going through all the necessary procedures, would surprisingly make a U-turn that actor John Dumelo should be the only person to be vetted in Ayawaso West Wagon. I mean, it's surprising because just this Monday, when that was the date we were supposed to be vetted, we had a meeting with the regional chairperson of the NDC, right, of the party. And he stated that because of some issues that were popping up regarding the online filing, he had received a directive from the national chairman that Ayawaso West Wagon, the vetting should be postponed until they clarified those technicalities.
This was on Monday.
This was on Monday.
And the exercise was rescheduled, per our checks, to the next day.
No, indefinitely. It was
indefinitely.
On Monday.
Okay, right.
It was
on
indefinitely.
Monday. Right. Okay.
So we're hoping that we will get the new dates from the party, and just for me to surprisingly hear that actor John Dumelo has been cleared
yes,
to be vetted.
What issues did the regional executives, or by extension the vetting committee, what issues did they raise with your nomination forms, for instance, as a candidate?
You see, what is shocking is that we have not even met the vetting committee yet. So the appropriate procedure will be that allow us to meet the vetting committee, and then the vetting committee will look at the issues, whether or not we were able to successfully file. If we were able to successfully file, then they will go into the merit of whether or not one even qualifies to contest. So we have not even met the vetting panel yet. And then we received a message first from the regional chairperson, and then later it was confirmed in the evening by the vetting committee that Ayawaso has been postponed. So we have not even...
Okay, so there was no meeting at all?
So there was no meeting at all.
So this is just your meeting with the regional chairperson?
This was just a meeting with the regional chairperson.
Did you allow for the regional chairperson to say, okay, well, I'm relaying the issues to the national headquarters. Once that's resolved, we'll get you feedback? So
the meeting was for the regional chairperson to convey a message to us, a message he received from him. He received from the national chairman. So he conveyed a message to us that because of the technicalities, the issues revolving the filing of nominations and other peculiar issues within Ayawaso West, they had to postpone the vetting of Ayawaso.
Meanwhile, Moses Befie-Champon, who is also a pharmacist and a lawyer, believes that he would win the race given his enormous work in the constituency.
Allow the people to go through. If there are any technicalities or there are any issues, I think the appropriate body to rectify it, bring it. If there is any petition, you've not even heard me. I've not been heard on any petition whatsoever. So if there are any petitions whatsoever, you in the right thinking of the party, postponed the vetting. Meet with me. Let me know that these are the issues. Let me bring. I even filed a petition regarding the difficulties I faced. I attached all the evidence I have, what I have here. I attached everything to it. So at least meet me. Let me know that these are the issues. I mean, the most important.
But have you also tried reaching out to, of course, the national leadership of the party? I'm not sure that you're too new to this as a politician.
Yes,
a lot could happen. Have you tried speaking to some members, leading figures of the party?
I have. Sometimes you call, it won't go through or they won't pick up. So the immediate executives you have will be the constituency, the elections directory, the region. Yes, I've made reports. Even on Monday, I was at the region. Even on Monday, I was at the region. So as it stands now, I'm not aware of any formal petition against the problems we faced or any formal petition bordering on whether or not we were able to file. To the best of my knowledge, we were able to file successfully. So the next thing we are supposed to do is to meet the vetting committee, for the vetting committee to say that, hey, we have this petition against you, we have these issues against you, you will get to hear from my side. And then at the end of the day, the vetting committee will make a decision. If I'm not okay with the vetting committee, the decision of I'm dissatisfied with it, then there's an appeal process. I follow it. If I'm still not dissatisfied with it, then I follow up with the next procedure to redress whatever issues I have. So I think that is what has to happen. I mean, I'm a party member. I respect the party rules and the procedures. I think the right thing must be done, and I will ensure that the right thing is done.
Moses, still staying on the NDC's upcoming parliamentary primaries, now the former General Secretary, of the Ghana Medical Association, Dr. Titus Bayo, says that if given the nod, he'll be able to transform the leadership narrative in the Lambusi constituency. That's more the following report.
The former General Secretary of the Ghana Medical Association, Dr. Titus Beyo, first debunked the assertion that he's new in the NDC.
So for anybody doubting my credentials within the party, they should visit Lambusi and find out who brought the first set of doctors to operate in Lambusi, who started the renovation of the party office years ago, who took new passport pictures for everybody when the party decided to introduce passport pictures in our register. They should find out from Lambusi who paid for the filing fee for all our branch executives, and they will realize that I am not new in the party at all.
Dr. Beyo said one major challenge faced by the Lambusi constituency is the lack of quality leadership, which he hopes to bring to bear if given the nod. He added that he is going to be the lead advocate for the development of the area and spearhead its development.
We have had leaders who have tried their due, but we need a contemporary leader, a transgenerational leader, one with a vision, one who carries a certain charisma to carry the people along, and one who can act as an advocate for of Lambusi. Lambusi has lacked a lot of advocacy. If you come into the Lambusi constituency, nationally, people do not know a lot about us. People do not know the kind of people who are even in Lambusi. People ask me, what are the tribes in Lambusi? Lambusi, we have Sisala, we have Dagari, we have Mochi people, we have Wala people. It's a mix of people in Lambusi, but no one knows all this about us. So lacking in Lambusi is advocacy, and then the type of leadership that will project the image of the place to attract the needed development.
To achieve that, he has to first beat former member of parliament for the constituency, Ejura, who has also filed to contest the primaries.
There's nobody in Lambusi constituency who cannot, or who probably will say, Eddie, for this area have not done anything. We have 77 polling stations and communities. I can bet you, go to every community, you will see a project there. For the 8 years, I have drilled and installed existing boreholes, 132.
Edward Derry is largely blamed for the party ceding the parliamentary seat to the MPP, a blame he has strenuously denied.
If you talk about human relations, I will not disagree with you. It depends on how you look at me, or probably how you want to associate with me. And you know, for MPs or public servants, you know, there are very petty issues people can take against you. I have learned a lesson, and I'm going to do it better. I'm more united with my people than before. All those who campaign against me, today we are working together, and I can assure you, I'll do it better.
The third person in the parliamentary primary, and whose picture will appear number 2 on the ballot paper, is research scientist Dr. Emmanuel Kambampanyang.
I say, look, our seat has gone back. It has gone to NPP. My priority will be for us to get the seat back. That's number 1. Irrespective of who wins the primaries, what I mean, Dr. Beyo or Honorable Edward, my priority will be for us to unite and get the seat back from MPP.
Reporting for Joy News, Rafiq Salam. Wow.
Now tonight, engineers and technicians of the Ghana National Gas Company are working around the clock to resolve issues with the Ituabo gas processing plant. Now the plant over the week has become deficient, leading to a load shedding exercise being conducted by the Electricity Company of Ghana. My colleague Joseph Akable with the Energy Desk has been explaining the development.
There has been a challenge with the gas to be received from Nigeria. This has resulted in a loss of about 200 megawatts of power, as what was to come from Nigeria yesterday didn't come in. So this is not something that's within the control of the utilities companies in Ghana. What this means is that there's a shortfall in available power. So during peak hours, our sources tell us that we are looking at some shortfall of about 400 megawatts and more than 200 within off-peak periods. And this is not just due to the Nigerian situation that I alluded to. There's a bit about not having adequate fuel to power other available plants as well.
Now, we understand that Ghana Gas is operating, but not at the optimum level now. From what the other players tell you, will there be stable power supply beyond today?
I mean, the load shedding, as was advertised, is supposed to end today. What we can confirm is that from today, the power situation will generally improve, but they would only be able to get to the level that they were previously once the Ghana gas plant is operating at full capacity. That will be one. And the second will be the ability to get as many plants as possible running due to the adequate supply of fuel. And so, yes, there will be an improvement, but it will not immediately get to the level that we expect to. And so as the days go by, with the improvement from the Ghana gas and the subsequent availability of resources to power the other available plants, then we can get to that optimum level.
Okay, so it means that we should expect that the load shedding may continue after today, right?
To an extent, but not at the level that we are seeing currently.
Now, prayer is an essential ingredient of Christianity, and depending on your peculiar circumstances, you may want to vary your location for prayer. For example, when the Master Jesus Christ was about to be crucified, he spent time in Gethsemane. Well, it's Christmas, I beg your pardon, Easter, and my colleague Emefa Atemo Eli walks us through some of these critical prayer sites, including the Western Wall. Well, we have details about this very development later. Let's jump away from that, where hundreds of small-scale farmers in Ejura community in Ejura in the Ashanti region are losing their livelihoods as the traditional authority there takes over the acres of farmlands. There's more in the following report.
The affected farmers ride their motorbikes to some of the farmlands that have been taken over. This is one of the 1,500 acres of farmlands the farmers say have been taken over by the Ejura Traditional Council. Abdurrahman Hudu is the leader of the farmers.
Some few years ago, we had a call from Ejura Traditional Council to stop farming on some portion of the land in Chinchinkura community, which was about 500 acres of land. The community members pleaded to the Traditional Council to rescind such decision, but all efforts could not yield any positive results.
Abdurrahman says when the Traditional Council took over the farmlands, most of the farmers relocated, while others lost faith in life because that was their only source of livelihood.
About 1,000 farmers from Chinchinkura and the nearby communities were farming on that portion of land. So when the Traditional Council took the land from the farmers, most of the people relocated from the community as a result of all hope lost, while others turned to drunkards, and now they are a burden to the society as a whole. Fast forward, in the early February of this year, 2023, one Tuesday morning, we had a call from the Traditional Council again not to step our foot on the remaining farm land in the community. This land we are talking about is a land managed by the community for over 70 years. This land is a land the whole community depends on it for their farming activities, and the land size is over 1,000 acres of land.
According to the small-scale farmers, taking over the farmlands is likely to result in one of two outcomes: community breakdown or hunger, because they produce to feed themselves.
So this news shook the foundation of the community, and we decided to appeal to the Traditional Council to look at the decision again, because it will lead to the collapse of the community as a whole, or either hunger for over 500 people in the community.
We have nowhere to go. I have about 7 children, but they have taken over my 2-acre farm. That is why we are hoping the chiefs will do something about it. My son would farm and provide food for me if the land was available. When I first came, the residents were able to cultivate and share some of their farm produce with me. But now that they've taken over the land, where can I get farm produce?
If somebody is
The Member of Parliament for Ejura Secretary Dumasi, Mohammed Bawa Brema, says while the Traditional Council has power over the lands, they should reconsider their decision.
So for that matter, that's why I'm making a passionate appeal to Nananom, and I know they will listen, that at least we should have, we know the land belongs to them, traditionally it belongs to them, but in apportioning the land, they should at least attach a human face.
According to Mr. Bremer, the main source involved in farming is land, and once the land is taken over, the farmer's very existence is lost.
That's what I said. If somebody is in an area and his major source of livelihood is farming, and we all know that in farming, the major capital that involves in farming is land. And once the land has been taken over, the person feels that his very existence on Earth is no longer necessary, because you cannot live on the planet Earth and will not eat.
Back in Chenchenkura community, the farmers are pleading with the traditional authority to reconsider their decision.
They are the custodians of the land. But what we are saying is that they should reconsider their decision, because we have no any other work apart from the farming. And we don't have any land apart from this particular land we are talking about. We are using this medium to appeal to Asantimerura Otunfo Oseitu II to come to our aid, so we will have land to farm on it.
Efforts to speak to the Traditional Council have not been successful. A report by Mohammed Nuruddin.
Now, young working single males are stressed for time and rarely prepare meals at home. Some have to depend on home deliveries, takeaways, and food joints to prepare a decent iftar, the breaking of the fast. They say it's a real life struggle that must be addressed. In the following feature story, Joy News' Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin tells us how some single men in Kumasi are marking Ramadan, particularly during iftar.
I live alone, I'm not married, I do not stay with my parents. I have to make sure I come around to get something to break my fast even before I get home, because the fasting for more than 16, 17 hours, it is something that is very important for me to get something eating before I get home.
Sometimes when you wake up at dawn, going out to buy even bread and egg to come eat for the fast, it's not easy. Sometimes you may go out, some people may attack you at that night, but I think if I'm married, it will be better for me to sit home for my wife to cook.
Single life. 30-year-old Abdul Latif Sadiq is ready to be served here at Ray's Mina restaurant as the end of today's Ramadan approaches.
I do not stay with my immediate family. My dad is an old man who cannot cook, and my mom is not around. I do have a younger sister, but she works outside the region. So it makes it very difficult for me to be able to cope, prepare myself, go home and have some dinner before I can sleep. It becomes very tiring.
Many Ramadan men who live away from their families and are stressed with time depend on takeout and home orders for breaking their fast. For some like Abdul Latif, the sheer convenience and diversity of options in dining out make cooking at home a faraway possibility.
So it will be very difficult for me to say I will have to get home, cook, eat, sleep and wake up for another day. So the best thing for me to be able to do to get myself less stressed is to come here, get something already prepared, eat before I go home. Someone like me who loves to cook, I am very good at cooking as a matter of fact, but looking at the kind of work I do, like I said, before I get home, it makes everything very, very challenging, very, very difficult to live in.
If Abdul Latif regrets anything, it is the company of his family around him. He would have undoubtedly enjoyed a more conventional Ramadan.
So as a single, as a bachelor, it's very difficult, it's very, very tiring, very, very challenging. But you can't do anything about it. You just have to go through whatever you have to go through. Unlike the married men and women, they will have some support, some kind of support from their partners, which will lessen some of their burden, which will lessen some of the hell that they will be going through during this Ramadan festivities.
Abdul Latif's Ramadan experience is similar to that of any other single Muslim man who lives alone. 33-year-old Abdul Malik Farouk is mostly reliant on home deliveries for his evening meal.
As a bachelor, sometimes it's very, very hectic for you to come and buy food outside. Sometimes, if I'm married, I won't be coming out to buy food outside like this. So, as a bachelor, sometimes I feel so worried. Sometimes I feel so sad. I feel so ashamed for me to come out and buy food and holding it, going back home.
Both Abdul Latif and Abdul Malik rely a lot on eating out.
Some of these bachelors' dawn food or suhoor is really light. They make themselves a bowl of oats, a cup of tea, among others.
When I wake up during sahur or at dawn, the only thing I can have time to prepare is Lipton, which once in a while I combine it with dates. Yes, Lipton and dates to start my Ramadan with.
When it comes at the dawn too, I normally take coffee and bread and egg. I took the bread and egg at dawn because I don't have any option than to take that.
Until both get to bond with their families in the next Ramadan or get married as they believe it could lessen their burden, they would continue to rely on takeaways and home deliveries to break their fast. A report by Mohammed Nuruddin.
Well, some of the struggles of singles. Let's take a breather at this point. The bulletin continues with business. In business tonight, the International Monetary Fund has raised concerns over a potential wave of debt restructuring requests and its handling at a time current restructuring cases are facing costly deficits. According to its managing director, Kristalina Georgieva, about 15% of low-income countries are already in debt distress, with some 45% facing high debt vulnerabilities.
I want to make a double plea on their behalf. Help them handle the burden of debt, which has made life in this country so much harder because of multiple shocks in the last years. And secondly, help ensure that the IMF continues to be in a position to support them in the years ahead. Let me start with debt. About 15% of low-income countries are in debt distress, an additional 45% are near it. About a quarter of emerging market economies are at high risk, facing default-like borrowing costs. And this has raised a legitimate concern about the potential wave of debt restructuring cases.
Now, government says that work is progressing steadily on the new National Petroleum Authority Act to meet international standards. Here is Deputy Energy Minister Herbert Krumper.
I've wished this
I think that's part of the programs and policies that the regulator is putting together. Diversion and smuggling continue to drain the economy, continue to bleed the economy. In terms of the blend, the various products that go into the blend, government is thinking about how to probably reduce the products that go into the blend, to remove some of the incentives that have been exploited over the years in these subsidies and in these products, to see that the smuggling will stop. I think these are all policies that are being put together, and in due course they will be announced by the regulators.
How far with plans
to repeal and replace the NPA Act?
I think, like I mentioned in my speech, the NPA has made clear that the various amendments that are needed, because the industry has evolved over a long period since the NPA Act was established in 2005. There have been remarkable achievements, there have been challenges as well, and all put together it has unearthed certain gaps in the law, and therefore the stakeholder consultation is going on to ensure that the NPA is able to bring to the Attorney General's Department through the Ministry of Energy a new act, a new document that will reflect the evolving trends in the industry, to help build the downstream sector, to help impact more positively on the Ghanaian people and the Ghanaian economy, and to mitigate and reduce the risks that are associated with the industry.
The bulletin continues with sports.
Sports segment is brought to you by
Commended DBS Industries to you. Let's go to DBS Industries.
Atala Lato caught up with boxer Isaac Dogbe. Enjoy.
Question is, what are you doing here? I mean, it's just a few days after the fight.
Life goes on. It's just one of those things. Just have to get back on the drawing board.
Okay. And you're fine with doing it this early? I mean, because the conversation we had in Oklahoma, by the conversations you said that you were going to take some time off, rest and relax and all of that.
Yeah, I didn't sustain any injuries. Thanks be to God. I came out, my face is okay, everything is fine. I'm not feeling no pain, so why stay in the house and just, when you're at home without doing anything, sometimes it makes life feel so long. It makes everything long, so it's best for me to just come into the gym and
Okay, so we're going in there. You're going in there to do. So today is day one of training.
Yep.
Wow, interesting stuff there. All right, well, champ, all the best with it.
Take care. Bye.
Yeah, all the best with it. We wish you well. We're gonna see you soon. And I just spotted one of his gym mates in there as well. So Isaac Dogbe is returning to training just a couple of days after that loss to Robesi Ramirez. There's still more to do in terms of finding out what's going to happen in his contract to Top Rank, and then also more importantly, what's going to be happening in terms of getting an opponent for his next bout, which is likely to come off in December of this year. Nathaniel Atoff from the Headbangers Gym at the Bald Eagle Recreational Center in Washington, D.C.
It's a wrap on the news. For more, log on to www.myjoyonline.com. My name is Paa Kwasi Schandorf. Do have a pleasant evening and, of course, happy Easter.
Sports segments was brought to you by
Commended DBS Industries to you. Let's go to DBS Industries.